Which, if you could have picked any current player right now to play with for an entire season, who would you pick? Just from a fun teammate, make the team better, just all those things in play.
Well, probably Kobe, because the fact that he's, well, of course he wouldn't have been shooting as much as he does now.
Yeah, you would have had to talk with him.
His desire to win, his dedication in the offseason to get better, and he's just tough. He's just a tough cat.
Larry Bird was once asked one of basketball's most explosive questions: who was greater, Kobe Bryant or LeBron James? It sounded like a straightforward comparison, but the answer carried far more weight than a simple debate over statistics. Bird did not appear interested in giving the usual diplomatic response about how both players were great in different ways. Instead, his reaction immediately sparked discussion among fans who were already divided over the two legends. The debate goes far beyond points, championships, and highlight plays because it also touches on mentality, leadership, longevity, and performance under pressure. Kobe and LeBron build very different legacies, which is exactly why the comparison remains so difficult to settle. So when Bird was asked directly to choose between them, many expected a carefully balanced answer, but his response reportedly went in a very different direction and quickly became another chapter in one of basketball's never-ending debates. Bird's response reportedly made the room noticeably tense, but he did not leave the comparison hanging. He followed up with a much more direct explanation, framing the difference around what a player ultimately wants from his career. In his view, LeBron represented the kind of player you could enjoy sharing the floor with, while Kobe represented the relentless pursuit of winning year after year. Whether or not fans agree with that assessment, the statement carried extra weight because it came from Bird, a legend who competed during one of the NBA's most demanding eras. Throughout his career, Bird faced some of basketball's biggest names, including Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Julius Erving, and Michael Jordan. That history gives his opinion a different level of significance, even as the Kobe versus LeBron debate remains one that fans are unlikely to settle anytime soon.
Not that LeBron's not a winner, it's just that his mindset to go in every practice, every game to get...
Bird's reported preference for Kobe should not automatically be interpreted as personal dislike toward LeBron. The bigger issue was the philosophy behind the comparison. Bird's generation placed enormous value on toughness, consistency, and proving yourself through difficult moments rather than building a personal brand around your achievements. For players of that era, respect was earned through competition, especially when the pressure was highest. To understand why Bird's perspective carries so much weight, it helps to remember the environment he entered when he reached the NBA in 1979. The league was far more physical, with hand-checking, crowded paint areas, and defenders who were allowed to make life extremely difficult for offensive players. Scorers routinely absorbed contact and were expected to keep competing without the protections modern players have. Bird not only survived that environment but became one of the defining stars of his generation, which helps explain why his ideas about toughness, pressure, and winning continue to influence how he evaluates greatness. Bird's reputation for toughness was built through moments like the 1985 playoffs, when he reportedly suffered a serious shoulder injury against Philadelphia, yet remained on the court and finished the game with 20 points and 10 rebounds. Experiences like that shaped the way he viewed competitive basketball. After retiring as a player, Bird remained deeply involved in the NBA as both a coach and executive, giving him the opportunity to observe generations of talent from a different perspective. He saw Kobe Bryant's relentless preparation, early workouts, film study, and the mentality that eventually became known as the Mamba mentality. He also watched LeBron James develop into one of the most physically gifted and statistically dominant players of his era. Bird's perspective, therefore, was not simply about comparing numbers or highlight reels. It was about how each player approached pressure, preparation, competition, and the responsibility of winning. That broader understanding helps explain why his reported preference for Kobe resonated so strongly with fans who place enormous value on mentality and competitive edge. To understand that perspective fully, though, you have to look closely at what made Kobe's approach to basketball so distinctive.
Bryant, out top against Patterson. Kobe cannot get Patterson in the air. A wild three, hit it!
Told you before, this is not the guy you let shoot the shot in this building. It seemed to be home for him.
Payton to inbound. Bryant for three.
Kobe's rise was built around an obsession with improvement rather than popularity. He studied Michael Jordan's game with extraordinary attention to detail, breaking down everything from footwork and body positioning to timing and shot creation. Instead of simply admiring Jordan from a distance, Kobe actively sought knowledge from him, asking detailed questions about how to create separation, manipulate defenders, and make familiar moves nearly impossible to stop. That approach reflected Kobe's broader philosophy. Identify what made the greatest players successful, study it relentlessly, and then refine those lessons through his own work. Jordan later spoke about the unusual mental challenge Kobe presented, recognizing that Kobe was not simply looking for praise or validation. He wanted information, wanted to understand the process behind greatness, and then wanted to push that process even further. That relentless curiosity and commitment to improvement became a defining part of Kobe's legacy.
Wants it so bad and he's willing to go to the extreme, guarding the point guards at the age of 34, playing 38 minutes, 40 minutes, that's ludicrous. I think this is what he's battling with. It is what it is. He's cursed as much as I am.
Magic Johnson, another all-time NBA icon, has also drawn a strong comparison between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. His praise carries weight because Magic experienced greatness firsthand and competed against some of the best players in basketball history. For him to describe Kobe as one of the closest players to Jordan's style and impact is a powerful acknowledgement of just how special Kobe became. It was not simply about statistics or highlight plays. It reflected Kobe's mentality, competitive intensity, and ability to build a legacy that reminded many fans of Jordan's influence on the game.
Yeah, it really is. And, he's going to be that Laker mystique, and he winning those 5 championships, and the way he did it was special. Probably the closest dude to Michael Jordan, right? Because Michael is the greatest has ever played, but he's Kobe in terms of how he was able to, his mannerisms like Michael, the way he approached the game like Michael.
Allen Iverson was even more straightforward in his assessment, placing Kobe directly behind Michael Jordan in his personal ranking of the greatest players. Coming from someone who competed against Kobe and experienced his intensity firsthand, that opinion carries a different kind of weight. Bird would have been aware of those perspectives when the Kobe versus LeBron question came up, which helps explain why the comparison can feel so significant to fans who value competitive mentality. Looking beyond opinions, Kobe's statistical resume also provides plenty of material for the debate. He scored 81 points in a single game, reached the 40-point mark 122 times, and recorded 26 games with at least 50 points when the playoffs are included. LeBron's career high is 61 points, with fewer 40 and 50-point performances. Kobe also earned 12 All-Defensive Team selections compared with 5 for LeBron. Context matters, too, because much of Kobe's scoring peak came during a more physical era when defenders such as Bruce Bowen, Ron Artest, Doug Christie, and Tayshaun Prince were known for making life extremely difficult for elite scorers. Those numbers and circumstances do not automatically settle the debate, but they explain why Kobe's supporters believe his offensive production and defensive recognition deserve special consideration. Driving to the basket during Kobe's era often meant going straight into a wall of physical defenders, with players such as Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and Kevin Garnett protecting the paint. Contact was a normal part of the game, and finishing through it was a requirement rather than an exception. LeBron entered the NBA in 2003 as the league was beginning to evolve, and the eventual removal of hand-checking helped create more space for perimeter players. That does not diminish LeBron's accomplishments, but it does mean Kobe and LeBron reached their peaks in noticeably different basketball environments. Bird experienced the older, more physical version of the league himself, so his evaluation of greatness naturally includes toughness, pressure, and the ability to perform through adversity. That perspective becomes even more interesting when looking at how Kobe responded to injuries. In 2009, for example, he played through a serious injury to the index finger on his shooting hand, adding another chapter to the reputation for durability and competitiveness that became central to his legacy. Even while dealing with injuries, Kobe continued producing at an extraordinary level, including a season in which he averaged 26.8 points while helping lead the Lakers toward another championship. His reputation for playing through pain became one of the defining parts of his career. During the 2010 finals against Boston, he battled through obvious physical limitations and still delivered a crucial Game 7 performance, grabbing 15 rebounds when his team needed every possession. Another memorable example came when he suffered a finger injury during a game, had it treated on the bench, and quickly returned to action. Then there was the unforgettable 2013 Achilles injury, when Kobe ruptured his Achilles tendon, stepped to the free throw line, calmly made both shots, and only then left the court. Those moments became powerful symbols of his competitive mindset. For Bird, who had experienced his own share of injuries and physical challenges during his career, that kind of determination would have been easy to recognize. It was not simply about playing through pain. It reflected the mentality Kobe brought to nearly every difficult moment of his career. Those moments reinforced the image Bird had of Kobe as an intensely competitive player who rarely allowed physical setbacks to change his approach. From Bird's perspective, that kind of resilience represented a traditional standard of toughness that defined earlier generations of basketball. The comparison becomes more complicated when LeBron's injury history and modern approach to workload management enter the discussion. During the 2014 finals, LeBron was forced to leave a game because of severe cramps, creating a major conversation about how players should handle physical setbacks on the biggest stage. Unlike Kobe's reputation for pushing through injuries, LeBron's situation highlighted how differently two superstars could respond to physical challenges. Modern NBA basketball has also embraced load management, with teams sometimes resting star players to preserve their health for the postseason. That strategy can make sense from a long-term performance perspective, but it is very different from the mentality of Bird's generation, when playing through fatigue and physical punishment was often treated as part of the job. Those contrasting eras help explain why Bird's evaluation of greatness may place such a strong emphasis on toughness, availability, and how a player responds when the pressure is at its highest. Kobe's approach remained intensely competitive even as injuries accumulated late in his career, reinforcing the idea that he viewed physical setbacks differently from many modern players. That contrast is central to the way some fans interpret Bird's reported preference for Kobe. Rather than judging the two stars only through statistics, the argument focuses on toughness, preparation, mentality, and how each player responded to adversity. Kobe's obsessive attention to detail extended beyond the court as well. Dwayne Wade has spoken about seeing Kobe interact with athletes from different countries and being struck by his ability to communicate across multiple languages, reflecting the level of preparation and curiosity that defined him.